Hey co-stars, welcome to another episode of Generation Films. My name is British Ben. And in one of my favorite sci-fi franchises, Stargate, you have the terrifying enemy, the Goa'uld, who look like this. No, that's an earthworm. They look like this. No, that's a trill symbiote from Star Trek, but close, they are symbiotes. Ah, that's better. Cute little guy. But since they were really just water-based snakes, basically, they had to go and possess human bodies in order to actually do anything, and they regarded themselves as gods towards the races they enslaved, a situation that Teal'c lamented about on his first solo album, released under the name Papi Chulak. So basically, they just posed as gods.
False god. Dead false god.
Right, and all of these supposed gods were known on Earth, which was the first planet that the Goa'uld kidnapped people from. Thus, the humans of Earth were known as the Teal'c, which means first ones in the Goa'uld language. So basically the idea is that all of the ancient gods on Earth were actually snakes possessing human bodies, except for Jesus. Yeah, they didn't even go there. It's nice to see that the producers of the show didn't pick any gods that people actually still worship. And some of these Goa'uld may still be walking the streets today. Do you see a likeness? I don't really see it. So anyway, what we are going to talk about in this video are all of the Goa'uld system lords in Stargate and their personas as gods,
False god.
thank you Teal'c, in human history. If you like the sound of that, why not hit the like button, subscribe for more videos like this, hit the bell notification so you never miss a video. Let's go. Ra. So first up we have Ra, who was the supreme system lord in the original Stargate movie. He held power over all the other system lords at the time. He was kind of like the OG, the one who actually discovered Earth and the fact that they could use humans as hosts. Previously, the Goa'uld had been using beings called Unas as hosts who looked like this. But humans proved better because the Goa'uld could use the same body for thousands of years due to their ability to heal illness and their sarcophagus technology. To the people of Egypt, Ra portrayed himself as the sun god, and in real human history, Ra is depicted with a falcon head. And thus in Stargate, Ra's Jafar guards have falcon helmets. Basically, Ra created human history, or that's what he claims in the Stargate movie, and a lot of the other system lords stem from Ra's family tree. Like our next one, Ra's brother, Apophis. Apophis in ancient Egypt was the god of evil, darkness, and destruction, often depicted as a snake in Egyptian mythology. You can see that this is the same snake as Teal'c's forehead tattoo as first prime of Apophis. And where Ra's guards had falcon helmets, Apophis's guards had snake helmets. In Stargate, Apophis rose up after the defeat of Ra and came to Earth looking for hosts, where he became the mortal enemy of SG-1, who destroyed 2 of his Hartak-class motherships. After that, he tried to make a comeback, but he was never really the same. We'll talk about that later, but first let's talk about another one of Ra's people, Hathor. Hathor was both Ra's daughter and his wife. Yeah, I know, it's kind of messed up, but look it up, it's true.
Hathor was both the daughter and wife of Ra in Egyptian mythology, until Ra was said to have corrupted her.
After she was corrupted, Hathor was banished to an ancient sarcophagus in what is modern-day Mexico, and then in 1997, some archaeologists dug her up. Here's how that went.
Where is Ra?
You mean the god Ra?
You are not Goa'uld?
That was in the SG-1 episode entitled Hathor, which describes Hathor as an ancient Egyptian sex goddess. Anything for the ratings, eh guys? In ancient Egypt, Hathor was the goddess of love, beauty, music, dancing, fertility, and pleasure. So I guess you could translate that as sex goddess if you wanted to attract viewers. In the episode, she breathes out a substance that makes all men at Stargate Command infatuated with her. The breath is actually an organism that only affects the subject when Hathor is at close range. If she moves out of range, the effect wears off and the subject becomes immune, even if they encounter her again. Hathor tries to take over Stargate Command, and it ends up with Colonel O'Neill in a bath with lots of baby Goa'uld. You can watch it yourself to see what happens. Next, we have Heru-Ur. Heru-Ur was the son of Ra and Hathor, so he was inbred. You'd expect him to be more of a Cletus.
You might could wear these to your job interview.
And scuff up the topless dancing runway?
But no, Heru was a strapping young lad. In ancient Egypt, Heru was also often called Horus, hence the Eye of Horus. In Stargate, he first appears in the episode Thor's Hammer, where he enslaves an Asgard-protected world. In the end, an Asgard mothership has to come and clean things up. Later, Heru is killed by his own uncle, Apophis. Wonderful family these guys are, aren't they? Anyway, next up we have Nita. Now she was a Goa'uld who posed as the Hindu goddess of darkness and destruction. In Stargate, she carried out genetic experiments on children in order to try and create a host body with supernormal powers for herself. She loses her rank as System Lord in the episode Fair Game, where she tries to assassinate one of the other System Lords who are at the SGC for negotiations. After she injures him whilst hidden by an invisibility technology, she lies about not being able to use a hand device to heal him. Later, Major Carter tries and succeeds, exposing the lie. She is then captured and handed to the System Lords to take away. And the one she tried to assassinate was our next System Lord on the list, Cronus. Cronus was a great guy with a wonderful attitude.
Your idea of accommodation is pitiful.
Well, wonderful for a Goa'uld anyway. Cronus is also sometimes spelled Cronus, and he was the Greek Titan god of time. Don't worry, that's his own kid, probably Zeus, who later grew up to overthrow Cronus and become the king of Greek gods. In Stargate, Cronus is responsible for killing Teal'c's father, but he is then later killed by Teal'c in the episode Double Jeopardy. And it's a shame, because Cronus was one of my favorite System Lords for his calm but cheeky evilness.
Your fate will be much worse.
Anyway, moving on, and now it's time for our final System Lord in part 1 of this series, and that would be Yu. Yu was the oldest System Lord in existence after the deaths of Ra and his family. On Earth, Yu had been a legendary figure in China called Yu the Great, who was responsible for digging channels to drain the water after the Great Flood. Yes, China has a flood story too, which probably means Noah's Ark was true. Does that mean Noah was a Goa'uld? I don't know. Anyway, Yu was responsible for draining the waters, and he then founded the Xia dynasty and reigned as the emperor of that dynasty, one of China's 3 ancient dynasties 2,000 years BC. In Stargate, Yu's palace on his homeworld resembles the Potala Palace in Tibet, with a Chinese pagoda stuck on top of it. Yu was a leader amongst System Lords. He participated in the treaty negotiations with Nita and Cronus and voted in favor of the treaty with Earth and the Asgard. He was the only dissenting vote at the summit when the System Lords voted to reinstate Anubis as a System Lord, which would have been a wise decision if they'd all agreed not to let him in, because the Goa'uld had to later deal with Anubis, and Yu led them in battle.
Your time is up. And that you are gravely mistaken.
Yeah, he actually lost that battle, and I'll leave the rest of Yu's story out. I don't want to go and spoil the whole of SG-1 for you. Go and watch it yourself. It's on Netflix. Next week, in part 2 of this series, we'll be looking at System Lords Sokar, Baal, and obviously Anubis himself, and a few more that you may not have heard of. So tune in next Wednesday for that episode. And guys, if you want to do what we do, make money by talking about fictional enemies from science fiction shows or any other topic for that matter on YouTube, why not check out our free YouTube masterclass? Link in the description below. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you're new. Like we said, tune in next Wednesday for the next episode, and we'll see you then. Bye bye.